Hello YouTubers, and today I'm going to be reviewing the recent release of The Evil of the Daleks, which is now available on DVD, Blu-ray and a Blu-ray Steelbook. So if we just quickly start off with the packaging for this. So the DVD and Blu-ray just come in obviously standard cases. What's really annoying is that this is some of the laziest artwork on the front of the standard releases I have ever actually seen. For example, it literally just looks like a bunch of character profiles just literally copied and pasted onto a red backdrop, and that is basically it. Fortunately though, the steelbook artwork is really nice as usual, but obviously you're paying more of a premium for that. Basically you're paying an extra £10 as opposed to £20 for the standard Blu-ray. Also, something worth mentioning, for some reason in the booklet this time around it doesn't tell you what is on each disc for some reason, and I'm talking about special features here. Normally it'll tell you what special features are on each disc. This time the booklet, it only tells you the list of special features, but it doesn't tell you which disc they're on. I can't help feeling this is kind of an oversight that they've done, because the discs themselves do actually say which ones are the colour animations, which one's the black and white cropped one, and which one's the recon, but it doesn't list anything other than that. So yeah, this is a slight hindrance if you just want to, jump straight into the special features or know what special features are on each disc. So anyway, without further ado, let's talk about the animation itself. So this one is a bit more of an interesting one. So yeah, I personally would have rather Big Finish Creative handled this one, because got the Jamie and the Troughton, there's just not enough of a likeness there. It's particularly Jamie looks particularly bad. He didn't look as bad as he did in the Faceless ones, but still it's only a very, very slight likeness. I think Fury really nailed the likenesses the best. I wouldn't say it had the best animation itself, but I would say that one really did nail, the likenesses of Troughton and Jamie. And as for the rest of the cast, don't have a problem with the rest of the likenesses and that. And the animation on this one, it's kind of a hybrid, because in some moments it feels fairly fluid, but in others it kind of feels rather stilted. I do find as the story goes on, the animation kind of feels a lot more puppeted and a lot less fluent as the story goes on compared to episode 1, and then you compare it to episode 7. Rob Ritchie's Daleks are completely redesigned from their previous appearance in Power, so yeah, it's nice that, he went back and actually made some improvements, particularly with the eye. Although I will say this, the screws in the eye should not turn round as the eye, focuses in on things. To be honest, if I was going to nitpick even more, none of these Daleks should have that eye with the iris in there, but you know what? I'll let that slide. It was also nice to also see the Wilkie Dalek and a Dalek with a pupil make a small brief appearance in there, so little things like that are much appreciated. Though when we do get to episode 7 unfortunately feels the most rushed out of all of the episodes in terms of the animation. For example, there's this one shot of this one Dalek that during the final battle that is just repeated several times over, and there's a lot of jerky sort of camera movements during these sections as well. I think it's to try and make it seem more impactful than it actually is, because we have this shot of all these Daleks, about to face 4 Black Dalek leaders, I believe it is, and it's just like, that is not, a fair fight. That would basically have the human Daleks basically win in seconds. So yeah, I say the final battle, it's kind of exactly what I thought it would be, but to be honest, the jerky camera angles and the shakiness, I don't really like. But in terms of everything else, I mean, a few shots are literally copied from the chase, actually. A lot of this has taken inspiration from the chase in terms of the fighting scenes at the end, particularly some literally direct shots that are copied of a close-up of a Dalek gun. but overall it's not bad. But it could have been so much better if it wasn't clearly rushed, and it clearly is. It's evident when you compare it to the other episodes that, unfortunately, out of all the episodes, episode 7 is the one that you really don't want to be rushed, and unfortunately that is the one that seems the most rushed out of all of them. I also don't like the way it ends, which is that the literal copy of power of the one Dalek, with the eye starting to illuminate again. I think this really would have made more sense if it was the Emperor. Again, that's more of a nitpick, but it is just something that did kind of annoy me. Because, obviously, if you look at the scripts, and also if you look at the actual, timestamp recordings and that as well, it's basically the Emperor is the only Dalek, suggested to survive the final battle, so yeah. But anyway, we do have a colour and a black and white animation. Now, the colour animation, I've only watched episode 7 of that. I didn't watch the entirety of it, simply because I'm not particularly interested in that. But that is on disc 2 and is presented in its full 16:9. But then we get to disc 1, where we've got a cropped version again of a black and white version, which is really annoying. For example, I'll show this in episode 7, as this is the most clear during the prison scene. Patrick Troughton is just almost completely just cut off. In fact, in some sections he is just completely cut off, and there's other sections where other characters are just completely just cut off the screen by cropping it to 4:3. Stop doing this. Either animate it in 16:9 or 4:3, but stop cropping one of the versions. So, yeah. Now, thankfully, I didn't watch this version. No. Initially, a friend of a friend got the DVD early, and one of my friends sent me a rip of the DVD. However, it was a grayscaled version of the colour animation in 16:9. So, thankfully, I wasn't losing anything out of frame there. Just commenting on the DVD just quickly, my god, it's been a while since I've seen, DVD quality in certain things, but god, the quality on the DVD, when you compare it to the Blu-ray, particularly in the darker scenes, you can see a lot of more artifacting and blocking, as the bitrate is obviously a lot lower. But yeah, like, for people who say they can't tell the difference between the DVD and the Blu-ray, have they actually seen the Blu-ray in comparison to the DVD? But yeah, let's just say, like, it's immediately obvious which one is which. But for those like me who, want to watch a 16:9, 1080p grayscale version of Evil, a handy feature I discovered in Handbrake is there is a grayscale button in the filters in Handbrake, so that cuts down some time when ripping them. Now, where do I think a lot of these problems lie? Well, unfortunately, I think it's Anne-Marie Walsh. Okay, I don't think, I know it's Anne-Marie Walsh. Every single project that she has had any involvement in, and she was the director of this one, has suffered as a result, whether normally it's inaccuracies and stuff like that, but a lot of the time it's just, the reason I think Anne-Marie Walsh keeps getting hired for these is simply because she is known for basically cutting costs and cutting time down. She essentially, rushes things a lot more, but also cuts a lot of things, and basically the BBC and BBC America are happy with it because obviously she cuts the time of the production down, but also she saves money doing it. I honestly don't know why she came back for this one. Every time she talks about doing these, I just grit my teeth every single time, because it's obvious that her heart isn't in it, and she keeps saying, she doesn't want to do these, and she wants to keep leaving. So why doesn't she just leave then? Why does she keep coming back? Obviously, it's for the work, but still, please, no more Anne-Marie Walsh involvement with these animations, because they do suffer as a result. Let's talk about some more good things, shall we? So, the recon on disc 3, this is probably the best reconstruction I have ever seen. And that is including all of the loose cannons I've ever seen, and obviously, people from loose cannon have worked on this recon. So, yeah, this recon is probably the best one. I've only seen episodes 6 and 7 out of the recon, but honestly, I just think it works better in those regards. For me, I don't know, it's kind of like a hybrid. Some things work better in the animations and some things work better in the recon. So, yeah, overall, got nothing negative really to say about the recon. It is pretty damn impressive, especially considering the time that they would have had in order to do this. In terms of other special features, we get a 30-minute documentary about the making of Evil of the Daleks, where they actually go back to the house and to the location. And this documentary feels like it's been cut down considerably. Like, it's only half an hour long for one, and which is one of the shorter ones, because, for example, Power's documentary, I think, was 50 minutes, and I think Fury was about 45-ish, or something like that. But they go back to the location, and apart from a couple of bits of Fraser Hines, reminiscing, it feels just kind of pointless, because for one, the background is normally blurred as well, so it's kind of like pointless going back to this location if you're not going to do anything with it. And it does feel like a lot of bits have been cut out of this documentary, which is a shame, because I would have quite liked, to know a bit more about it. Also included as a special feature is the episode 2, the surviving episode 2. Now, do you remember when this was first announced and they said, oh, they've done some restoration to episode 2? Nope. Episode 2 hasn't received any restoration, just like in the Faceless ones, and if it has, then I cannot tell a difference. Also, weirdly episode 2, the surviving episode, does not have the restored Marquez audio. Yeah. So it's really weird when you go from the animated episode 1 and then you go to episode 2 and suddenly the audio quality is suddenly a lot worse.
Who are you? Answer! Who are you? Answer!
It's also a lot quieter. The audio levels aren't even on the same level as well, so it's a lot quieter and also, a little bit more distorted and hissy. So yeah, that was really disappointing to find that episode 2 basically just had no work done to it whatsoever. And episode 2 appears twice on this set, because it appears on disc 1 with the 4x3 animated episodes in black and white, and it also appears on disc 3 with the recon episodes as well. In terms of other special features, the rest of them are just ported over from previous releases. For example, there is the YouTube video, which is the interview with Chris Thompson from back in 2018, which you can still watch online. It's nice that it's included in here, but there's nothing new in terms of that. There is also The Last Dalek, which is the surviving model shots and studio footage from Evil Episode 7. And unfortunately, despite, being recorded on 8mm film, so they could do, a 720p HD scan of it. They haven't. It is the original existing one, which is a shame, because I was hoping for a new scan of The Last Dalek, but unfortunately, yeah, if you are hoping for new scans of, episode 2 or the surviving studio footage from episode 7, unfortunately, that is not the case, which I honestly don't know why they didn't do this, because they've done it on previous releases. For example, Fury from the Deep, they did a new HD scan of any of the surviving clips or any of the studio footage. They did an HD scan of that, but they haven't done that this time around, which again is just really unfortunate that they haven't done that. Now, thankfully, one of the things that, is actually a new HD scan is of the photos. So yeah, there is a photo gallery which includes some previously unreleased photos, unless you got the Evil of the Daleks tin that was released, I think, by Toy Box Treasures, I think last year or something like that. Then yeah, but thankfully you do get that. So at least they've done that. You do get an HD photo gallery if, you buy the Blu-ray. You also get an animation photo gallery which shows some of the animatics and that of the characters and a few other things, which is nice enough. That's included. No special feature on the making of the animation this time around. You also get PDFs included on the disc, which are camera scripts, as well as Radio Times listings and that for the time. So in terms of special features, unfortunately it is pretty light on this one. We only really have one proper new special feature, and that would have been fine if they bothered to do rescans of any of the surviving episode, or if they'd done a rescan of the actual surviving studio and model shop footage, but unfortunately they have not done that. So overall, what do I think of this release? It's kind of slightly less than what I expected. Yeah, I was expecting it to be on the same kind of level as Faceless Ones, kind of. It was, and the animation itself is pretty much exactly what I expected. But I was hoping, that they would at least, either do some touching up to restoring Evil Episode 2, and also, doing a rescan of the surviving studio footage from episode 7, but unfortunately, yeah, that isn't the case. There is obviously a new commentary for the Evil of the Daleks on the telesnaps with Fraser Hines, but yeah, unfortunately it is just a bit light in terms of special features, and the animation itself, it's not the best, it's not the worst. Heck, this I can actually call animation, unlike the Web of Fear episode 3. Overall, if you haven't already made your mind up about getting, Evil of the Daleks, I would recommend that you wait until a price drop. So, just wait it out. Now, the DVD and the standard Blu-ray don't tend to go on sale very often, but oddly the Steelbook sometimes do. For example, I saw a load of copies of Fury from the Deep Steelbook in HMV for £20. So, yeah, if you're umming and ahhing about that, then yeah, it may be the case. But overall, I still did enjoy watching Evil of the Daleks animation. But I will say that this is, not my favourite in terms of the animation. It does feel like this one has been particularly rushed. Even more so, I would say, possibly than, maybe Power of the Daleks. This is probably one of the more rushed feeling ones, particularly when you get to the last 2 episodes, and particularly the final battle itself. But overall, that's it for this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. I also forgot to mention in this review about the cassette audio that is included of that, and it sounds terrible. They're clearly using a really cheap modern day cassette player in order to digitize these, which is why I didn't even bother mentioning it, because I didn't think of it. But yeah, don't listen to that. If you want to actually listen to it, I actually did my own restoration of the Evil of the Daleks cassette, as well as a bunch of others which you can download as MP3s for free.